The third single release from Written by Wolves that we get to entertain together. And it's funny when I consider this song and the turnaround framework in conjunction to the other single releases, which I was going to say this about the visualizer component itself, and that exudes a throwback energy, because that's where we started originally in terms of Written by Wolves coverage here in Model. But all these singles are just coming out like one after the other, and of course I appreciate that. I'll clarify more of what I mean on that respect in a minute, but even that, takes me back to foundational statements that I made earlier on when I first initiated coverage with Written by Wolves, which, as I said, was through Give 'Em Hell. Maybe some of you have stuck with me for that long in consideration of this talent. Maybe some of you are approaching this video on a first introduction capacity. And if so, I hope that this group will be inspirational to you as a longtime favorite, as they have been for me of many years. I've said before, with music generally, it's been a long-aspired envisionment of mine to enrich its presence as an art form and coverage and spotlight here in recognition, given it is such a first love in my life as an artistic language, apart from the others that I also favored. I think back to, when I was aspiring to bring music on in a grander focus, right? To whatever extent that might be, whether it be familiar talents or the capacity of many groups that I am graced with here via my own personal pursuance or many of your recommendations, first introductions. And I love that experience, right? I love generally being able to share with you, from maybe an admittedly unorthodox angle, I know, but to create opportunities for music fellowship, right? That we can entertain good art and good work together. Especially in familiarized respects. Written by Wolves was one such entity, coming off a good number of years I've spent with them. Though I couldn't give you an exact duration. I was able to pinpoint, though, at least an average entrance, that being whenever To Tell You the Truth debuted. It was soon after that was introduced, and ever since I've listened to everything pretty much as far as I'm aware that they've ever released. I've got all their tracks on my phone as we speak. I have greatly favored my time with this group, and I don't know necessarily how wide their fan base is. I would imagine, again, I know they've got devoted fans, and I'm happy and feel honored to be amongst them, and I hope you will be too. They definitely deserve their fan base, and they deserve to go wider than they have at this point. I mean, I always say this in respect to when I consider groups and their familiarity and name recognition. I always look to my personal circle. And I know for the majority of groups I list off, I get blank stares and empty glances of, who are you talking about? I've always gravitated more into the alternative space. But I do experience, again, a bit of like an isolation when it comes to, when I list off groups, nobody recognizes the names for the most part. So when I say, again, maybe I don't necessarily, I'm not the most aware of their recognition level. It's mostly in conjunction to, none of my friends probably know who Written by Wolves is, and they should. That's the story of, again, many groups I've come across, but I do favor, I've said in many respects, I do consider myself an anomaly in the talent that I've been exposed to, because they've just completely delivered in every respect. And Written by Wolves has satisfied me greatly, not just on musical envisionment and creativity in their work, and a good field of focus, with their genre approaches. It's not just necessarily a rock mainstay, but they've done several different types of things among the, like, pop energy, rock flair, some more aggressive, like, metal-esque stuff, more electronic stuff as well. I mean, again, it's a good mixture of stuff in the alternative space, I think, to appeal to a wide variety of tastes, but a central vision and part of authenticity, bluntness, relatability, catharsis in their lyrical writing, deeply impassioned scripts that I've been moved by. And I would imagine many of you could share the same sentiment if you have entertained them before. As I was saying, though, I think back again to where I've been with Written by Wolves in terms of ambition and bringing them on here, and why I experience a throwback mood. And, I was, as I said with Give 'Em Hell, I was elated at the opportunity when that first debuted, like, finally we get to bring on Written by Wolves here. And I'm looking to where we are at now with our third single debut, and in the back of my mind, I'm like, I didn't expect it to be this fast and to this extent of bringing music from Written by Wolves on in focus, but I'll welcome it. Anyway, anything to maybe help drive at newer fans that deserve to listen to their music, and, we can have a good experience together with Take Me Home. Granted, this video is going to be taking a bit of a different approach apart from the other singles, and some of you might have noticed this upon entrance with the thumbnail and the titling. This is not operating by the first impression model, but more the reintroduction phrasing that I have been adopting lately where necessary. Because, well, I mean, this is kind of a reintroduction / reaction, at least in branding, because the video's fresh. But in terms of the single, I have heard it before. a couple days ago, in fact, when I recorded my first impression, I wasn't entirely happy with the take. I was going to re-edit it, honestly. And I was going to be able to isolate the recording and the exposure to the song, and then just redo maybe my thoughts on it in terms of the opener as well as just the overall analysis. But I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so forgive me. I did take some time to think about it, though. I'm like, I saw the announcement that the video is coming out. It was a bit of a surprise. I'm like, why don't I just wait, right? And in that time, abstain completely from listening to the song. I've only heard it once, and it's been a number of days. Whenever the song debuted, I think I looked at it the day after. I've spent all that time in intentional abstinence, so this will be a fun re-entrance for me especially. But for you, it'll probably be entirely a first introduction. Again, I'm sure there's things I've forgotten about that I'm going to pick up on here that maybe weren't incorporated in the first cut. We'll see. But for many of you, this might be a first introduction, or maybe this won't be. Maybe you're a long-time Written by Wolves fan like myself. If so, from both perspectives, and I welcome everybody, I hope we have a great time experiencing a good piece of what I remember, but on faith of Written by Wolves. I love their work. I have for many years. I hope you do too. They've never been introduced to them. So, song and video will queue up in a minute, as well as if you're not familiar with the format I normally use in terms of music coverage. Lyrics are provided in part. If you would like to read along with the message of the piece, those are directly in the video feed. You'll see those pop up and transition along with the song as we navigate through it together. All right, Written by Wolves, our third entrance. Hopefully not I'm sure not the last. As far as I'm concerned, door is always open. Anyway, here we go. Let's entertain it together. And again, for those of you, this is my first introduction. I hope you have a fun time. I hope music, again, is a generous fellowship experience for both of us. That's what I want, a shared enjoyment, period, of good art. And Written by Wolves certainly qualifies. I'm so happy to get to listen to this piece again and not have to be like, I can't hear it yet. I forgot about how quick that entrance was. Good mixture of tone. So far we've had a rock mainstay on the pieces, and I love that. Again, I'm more of an aggressive taste type guy, though they play around a bit and I appreciate it. The balancing on this tune is terrific. On mood. And the strings performance in the background, that nice, subtle, symphonic flair, I appreciate it greatly. This chorus is one of my favorites of their work on part of the end points of inflection. Like the any more of a swore, the inclines. Good choices. The song has great drive on the narrative, again, to the mission of the song. I'll just talk about it in a minute as we wrap up, but the energy to its destination, I think it's just a wonderful ride. I remember that. Oh, good choices with this song. Beautiful choices. Oh man, the blending. I forgot about that. The electronic integration mixed with, again, the rock root. So many layers to this one. It's a unified package. I love it. Strong delivery. Don't you just love listening to Mikey? See, I remembered his name. I didn't forget this time. Good construction on the closure. I did forget about that winding back in. It's just so soft though. It's such a nice ending. Great drive on that tune, as always with them. And the live performance definitely adds, again, like I said, an element of passion. I always appreciate that. I was not always the biggest, like, live listener type guy. I mean, I went to plenty of concerts when I was younger, but now I'm like, I can't get enough of it. And this isn't just applying to Ridden by Wolves. There's many other groups that have operated by that model and appearance here from what I've consulted publicly. And you sense that passion and that creativity. And there's not been, as I've always said, one song or artist in this channel that I've not liked spotlighting. I've loved every effort. Ridden by Wolves, of course, is no exception. But I just love experiencing that deep reverence and love for strong writing on message and beautiful music craftsmanship. This song, I, again, feel on approach, has a wonderful fit on the collection of tracks we've received thus far. In the first one, well, the first two are pretty aggressive. This one is a bit milder in scope, but it mimics, again, that rough energy. It doesn't lose that essence, but there's such specific definitions in what's approached here. We have a softer blend, especially in the introduction, right? It's this suppressed winding in, and then it turns into this subdued, like, pop-esque rock ballad, right? And then it immediately drives back into the aggressive on the chorus constructions. I love the scope of the song and the inflection points, especially on that chorus. The choices there. I don't want to be here any longer. That line works so well. Or the any more of a swore in the changes. Great drifts. Fun drive and an easily connective piece, which on narrative, I was going to mention this going in, I forgot about it. What was offered on behalf of Ridden by Wolves, very much so like the previous track, Misery, was a short video that did specify, from my understanding, this is connected, at least in spirit, to being a follow-up of sorts to the collab project, which I quite liked, especially on the narratives. Insertions on behalf of, I'm assuming, a lot of their fans, people that they've gotten to share parts of their stories. This song in philosophy is in spirit a follow-up, from my understanding, on the grounds of where do we go in the process of that recovery, right, from whatever said trauma or challenge or life obstruction or trouble might be. And as a motif, it imagines home, which could mean, again, a variety of things, which I love the broad respect to this writing. It is, again, I love songs of broad application, especially in consideration of my own catharsis journey with rock and metal music. I intentionally, well, I mean, I'm okay with either. It can be specified or it can be broad. I will usually, because I always love to apply the music personally, I will keep the song in spirit and mind of what was originally written on tone and envisionment, but I will retrofit the lyrics on application to best suit me, right, and where I've been. And like all their pieces, again, this deeply connects on the image of home. We've all been through different types of life traumas and situations, and we have that image of where we would like to be, whether it is a restoration maybe to an earlier time or a home of our dreams. a different destination point that would be contrary to what we've experienced previous, but where we know will thrive. I think the energy on the emotion is delivered beautifully, not just on vocal structuring, but like where he says, I don't want to be here anymore. Why can't I leave here when I swore that I don't want to be here any longer? I'm paraphrasing this a bit, but that drive. Again, a lot of us, I think, have been in these types of situations in whatever context might apply in whatever situation. I don't know. I think of where I've been recently, maybe just to label one personal example, as I've cited many times. I've been, my home, I guess, is more of an abstract idea that I wish would be more concrete, but due to lack of understanding and a more fluid path of recovery, doesn't feel clearly defined. And again, I know that's going to be separate from other people's, journeys towards whatever their subjective homes are based on personal experiences. But I think of my own recovery journey of sorts. I've stated in summation, just to give you a concrete example, I've been in what I've termed, at least for the last couple of years, a deconstruction/reconstruction phase, notably of my emotional well-being, my mental health, my identity, over 21 years of, unbeknownst to me, emotional and psychological abuse damage. And I specify that in particular because if I were to say, just a damage from abuse, I wouldn't want any misconceptions. It was strictly emotional and psychological. Because I know, of course, as I'm sure many of you are aware, there's a variety of types of abuse that many people would cite, especially in today's society where that is a common plague, and it's horrific that abuse is such a mainstay in our world generally. But I wouldn't want anybody to misconceive, like, if you say you were dealing with abuse damage in recovery, like it was physical or sexual or drug abuse or something related to that. That was not the case with me. It was strictly emotional and psychological. My eyes keep drifting back, not just on the music side, but on the lyrics with that chorus section. I don't want to be here anymore. It's like every part of me here is ignored. Oh, man. Speaks to me directly. I don't want to be here any longer. Man. I love it. Home is, at least of current appearance, less of a intended destination path and more of a this is where I don't wish to be. More of a reflective awareness of where I've been in life and trying to work around that. Maybe the recovery emerges, maybe an intended path, hopefully, manifests from axing off all the crap in life, and heaven knows I've dealt with a lot. Anyway, as I said, recovery is complicated. Finding your home is perhaps complicated, right, in life. And again, this song is beautiful, generalized meaning and application for sure. I admire that. Because home is going to take on different appearances perhaps from me, or from me for different listeners, right? Maybe you have your own experiences that this song speaks to. And I would imagine, again, it's probably the same potency that it impresses itself on me as a work. It's a moving song. And this song definitely reaches out in terms of its territory. In many respects. The symphonic flair, too, is great on part of the orchestral side and strings instruments. I can't get enough. Even if it is a little more suppressed, at least in prominence here, it's a good background element. This song mixes up a lot in terms of tone, but it feels so uniquely balanced and tight. I appreciate its delivery. I'd love to hear if that's a sentiment shared with you down below. Whatever approach you take to this song in feeling, is this for you a first entrance? Is this a long-time extension of your familiarity of Written by Wolves, maybe like myself? I'd love to hear about it down below. And again, I welcome everybody's company because this group certainly deserves their audience. And regard for beautiful track instructions, and Take Me Home is no exception. This song is very tight. Again, it has that nice uphill vision of where it's a good mirror. That's a great descriptor for it. It's a great mirror to the collab project and destination, right? Where there was that tragic foundation building up to hope, or the pursuit of it, the idea of hope. You have the same song that starts at that destination of self-awareness of misery and tribulation that is yearning to be released. And the song provides at least a direction of going forward and establishing that desire to find home, whatever it is. That uphill journey, that catharsis, again, is one of Written by Wolves' strongest points in attribution. I love covering their work, as I've said many times. I truly feel honored to recognize their abilities. And even if this was perhaps a reintroduction phase, it was a bit fresh in certain respects. That was true. The abstinence was, I think, warranted. It would be nice to be able to re-listen to this song finally, because it's a great piece on construction, but it's really any song that's Written by Wolves. Again, I feel honored to be spotlighting artists that truly deserve their fan bases, for sure, and new listeners. I hope for some of you, you are taking your first approach with them, and that you are compelled now to dig deeper based on perhaps your elation in experiencing this track. It's very faithful to Written by Wolves' spirit and their goals, and just how inspirational they've been to me, and I'm sure many others. And on music delivery, it's just good art, period. It's a wonderful track to add on to the Free of Entertain thus far, and as far as I'm concerned, going into the future, as I've said many times, doors open for more, and I cannot wait to hear more from the future of Written by Wolves going forward. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.